want to welcome Brad Hovinga here, who has served as the Jackson Regional Wildlife Supervisor for the Wyoming Game and Fish Department during the last 4 years. He has worked with Wyoming Game and Fish since his graduation from Utah State University, where he was awarded a bachelor's degree in wildlife management. He has served over 2 decades as a district game warden in Big Piney, Wyoming, and in Lander, Wyoming, and in 2014 was named Officer of the Year for Wyoming from the Shikar Safari Club International. In recent years, I've had the privilege of talking to him on different occasions about conservation issues affecting Wyoming. I think we've done it at the Elk Antler, the Boy Scout event that they have every year in Jackson Hole, and this committee is certainly going to benefit from hearing about your vast experience in resolving predator-human conflicts in Wyoming. Mr. Hovinga, it is a Mr. Hovinga, you know, it's funny because it's spelled one way, but we always say it the other, and we appreciate you being here. It's a privilege to welcome you as a witness before the Environment and Public Works Committee. Thank you for traveling to Washington, and we'd like to now hear from you.
Thank you, and good morning, Chairman Barrasso, members of the committee. My name is Brad Hovinga. I am the Jackson Regional Wildlife Supervisor for the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today to provide my perspectives on technologies and practices of reducing human-wildlife conflicts. My testimony is based on 27-plus years' experience as a game warden and regional supervisor investigating these types of conflicts in Wyoming. Today, I intend to highlight some of the important innovations and technologies currently employed by Western wildlife management agencies to reduce human-wildlife conflicts, as well as present some ideas that have potential application for the future. Wyoming is home to a tremendous wildlife resource that is valued by a constituency that is passionate about their wildlife. Human-wildlife interactions in Wyoming are typically the result of animals seeking unnatural foods in association with property or people, close encounters with humans, damage to property, or large carnivores that depredate livestock. The Wyoming Game and Fish makes a significant investment in wildlife-human attack response training and has its own response team to investigate and expertly deal with situations involving human injury or death caused by wildlife. Wyoming also puts forth a considerable educational effort through our Bearwise program that seeks to minimize human-wildlife or human-bear conflicts. Wildlife agencies use a variety of innovative, non-lethal technologies to aid in reducing conflicts. These technologies include the use of chalk and pepper balls, weapon-fired beanbags, a variety of pyrotechnics, and unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. Wyoming recently trained personnel in the use of conducted electrical weapons, commonly known as tasers, for use as an aversion tool for wildlife. Colorado and Alaska have seen positive results with these devices with wildlife conflicts in those situations. Many of the non-lethal technologies used today to reduce or prevent human-wildlife conflicts have limitations that could potentially be improved to increase their effectiveness. The technologies that I'll discuss now either currently are in use and have potential to be improved, or new technologies that I envision having a fundamental impact on the future of reducing human-wildlife conflicts. Bear spray is frequently a primary tool used in close quarters human-bear conflict situations and often does an excellent job at deterring animals in close contact situations when used correctly. However, in extreme weather conditions, range and effectiveness of the spray can become limited and have an adverse effect on the individual deploying the bear spray. Conducted electrical devices are quickly becoming a valuable tool for wildlife managers as an aversive conditioning technique, as well as a temporary mobilization tool on animals like urban deer. However, in order for effective use on large animals such as grizzly bears and moose, the current technology is lacking options for long-range deployment that would increase opportunities to use the technology and improve human safety. Improvements in unmanned aerial vehicles or drone technology that allow for the deployment of aversive conditioning tools would greatly improve our ability to keep people safe and influence the behavior of habituated or aggressive wildlife. Developments in FLIR and thermal camera technology for the use with UAVs significantly increase human safety when assessing dangerous situations. And lastly, long-range acoustic sound devices, or sound cannons, are devices that directionally deliver sound over long distances. The potential for development of long-range acoustic deterrence for wildlife management exists, and work to develop an appropriate aversive conditioning tool for addressing wildlife conflicts would be greatly beneficial. The citizens of the United States have a deep and sincere appreciation for wildlife resources and expect wildlife managers to understand and improve upon past and current technologies to reduce human-wildlife conflicts. Investigating ways to minimize the pitfalls and reduce the inadequacies of current technology and techniques is a great place for us to focus our work. The wildlife populations continue to expand into human-dominated landscapes in Wyoming and throughout the West, and human development continues to encroach on wildlife habitat. The development of new innovative solutions that carry greater effectiveness at reducing conflicts between humans and wildlife is paramount to the coexistence of people and wildlife. I thank you for the opportunity to share my perspectives and those of the Wyoming Game and Fish Department on reducing human-wildlife conflicts, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Well, thank you so very much for your testimony.